Governor, we're going to start down in New Oxford. And Ken wrote in, Dear Governor Wolf, I have been an Adams County resident most of my life. As a volunteer firefighter for 19 years in several small volunteer departments, I've seen several changes within our organizations. One of the largest changes is the merger of multiple departments for the greater good. Many departments merge for the same reasons: funding, training, consolidating equipment, staff, etc. This has been a positive outcome. My question to you, why can't we do this with our school districts?
Well, it's a great question, and I'm looking to streamline and make organizations here at the state level more efficient by combining. The state combined school districts a number of decades ago. We're down to 500 school districts.
Down to 500, though. That's still a huge number.
It's a big number. And I think that there are reasonable people who look at that and say maybe we should have fewer. There's a balance we have to strike. And I think in Pennsylvania we're trying to strike that balance in terms of democratic access versus efficiency. We have 27 intermediate units where we actually share services and try to do things more efficiently with those intermediate units, while at the same time keeping that access where it is and decision making at the most local level. So the question is a good one. What is the right balance? I think there are all kinds of different answers to that. I would say at this point, the school districts in Pennsylvania have the ability to merge if they see fit, if the taxpayers and voters in each of those school districts think that ought to be done. It can be done.
It was done a few years ago. There was one merger out in western PA. I think
last year.
Was it last year? I thought it was further ago.
Wilkinsburg and City of Pittsburgh.
It brought us from 501 to 500.
Well, that was
several
few years
ago.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah.
So it can be done if the local voters want it to be done, and it's really a question that I think we need to keep asking, but I think we shouldn't forget that there are two things we're trying to achieve here. One is democratic access, and the other is efficiency.
Let's go to email number 2. Don't read his last name. He put his last name in there. And some of these, by the way, come in as a direct email to askthegov@radiopa.com. When that happens, we don't always know where these folks are from, and so I'm not sure where Robert is from exactly.
Right, yes. He just says his name is Robert, and his question is concerning Senate Bill 3. Why are you going to veto this bill when it hits your desk? And this Senate Bill 3 in this session would it would ban abortions after 20 weeks of gestation instead of the current 24 weeks.
Well, I think this is a particularly egregious example of the state, some state lawmakers wanting to intrude on the decision making of a woman, and I think we need to make sure we do everything we can to allow women to have control of their own health decisions. I don't think the politicians should be intruding into the doctor's office, and I think that's what Senate Bill 3 does, so I will veto it.
Go ahead, do you have a follow-up?
I just want to follow up because I'm sure, I know this is a very divisive issue, and so I know people are against it no matter what, but you appeared at a press conference with women who had to have these late-term abortions because of horrible fetal abnormalities really late in their pregnancy last session when this bill was in the House. So I would direct any listener to seek that out to at least understand, if not agree, but there are a range of reasons why.
Well, I think one of the in addition to that, just look at Senator Lisa Baker's.
That's what I was going to say.
Speech. She is a Republican, in many ways anti-choice Republican, and she voted against this bill. And she spoke about a personal experience that this bill would have made what she went through even more horrible. And she gave a tearful, I think one of the most emotional and moving speeches I have ever heard on this issue. So this is not just about the typical issue of choice. This is really intruding into an area that I think, again, women need to make their own health care decisions, and that is more true in this case than probably anything else that we voted on. So I will veto it.
Our next question comes from Leslie in Carlisle, and this is an issue that is of interest primarily to state employees, but there are a lot of them out there. Leslie writes, recently you changed the state employees' insurance from Highmark to Aetna. The insurance isn't as good as Highmark. Was the insurance also changed for the House and the governor? And why isn't it the same plan as state employees? Are you not also an employee of the state?
Let me start by saying I am a state employee, and my insurance plan is exactly the same as Leslie's.
Mm-hmm. Leslie in Carlisle.
And so that Leslie is right that the House and the Senate have different plans. I don't control that. And they control, I think the Senate and the House actually have different plans from each other. They make up their own plans. I'm responsible for the executive branch, and all of us in the executive branch have the same plan. I'm on the same plan that Leslie has. And there was a change in this past year, but Highmark continues to be, I think, the provider on the basic plan, which has a $1,000 deductible for individuals, $2,000 for family. You can trade up to the choice plan, which is carried by Aetna. That's a $300, $600 deductible. There's also an HMO that has no deductible, so you have those choices. So that was a function really of just the changes that are happening throughout our economy. Healthcare costs keep going up. We're all, I'm including me, trying to figure out what we can do about that. But in the meantime, we have to do the best we can to cover the employees we have, and this was negotiated with the representatives, the union representatives of the employees, and this is in terms of what's out there, I think a pretty good deal.
Well, it's not the only complaint that I've seen on email and actually heard from people about the new Aetna plan. So is this a year-to-year thing? Is this going to be a chance to be changed later on? Or
I think we negotiate this every couple of years.
Every couple of years,
yeah.
Okay.
But it's it's part of every. I know when I was in the private sector, my company, every year we had to go out and find insurance companies who would insure our employees, and the prices were what the prices were. Yeah. And so we're trying to, everybody in the private sector and the public sector, trying to figure out how we can provide the best possible coverage we can for our employees, given the financial constraints we all labor under and the prices that we're all forced to pay with the rising cost of health care.